Now at 9 dispensaries in Missouri can now start selling recreational marijuana. Plus, a car chase in Newton County leads to a manhunt and arrest. And how an organization in Carthage is helping to make sure all kids in the community learn to read.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. Marijuana dispensaries in Missouri are now selling recreational cannabis to adults 21 and older. KOAM's Amber Jenkins spoke to a Carthage-based dispensary about selling recreational cannabis.
February 6th was supposed to be the official day for dispensaries selling recreational marijuana in Missouri. However, for dispensaries that applied for their license and were quick with the paperwork, can start selling recreational marijuana before February 6th.
I think as long as you applied on time and the dispensaries had everything in order, their paperwork up to date and compliance was okay, it should be relatively easy if you did a good job during the medical years to keep everything on point.
The sales tax rate for recreational is 6%, while medical cannabis is still 4%. Adults 21 and older can now purchase up to 3 ounces.
That's it. You can be an out-of-state resident too. You don't even have to have a Missouri ID. We can also serve out-of-state medical patients now if you have a medical card in another state.
Blue Sage dispensary workers are in a frenzy trying to adapt to recreational sales early. Despite the frenzy, this is a long-awaited day.
This is something that makes an impact on so many people's lives. We see it all day, every day, and it's just expanding. It's for everybody now, you know.
Blue Sage held the title of being Carthage's first medical marijuana dispensary, but now they can add another title, being Carthage's first recreational marijuana dispensary. Here's the reactions from the community.
I mean, I personally didn't vote for it, but anything that keeps me from getting in trouble with the cops, you know what I'm saying?
It's an improvement with the kind of, I guess, the quote-unquote war on drugs, because it just kind of decriminalized something I don't think should be criminalized.
All the people with depression that couldn't get it because of it not being legal or they don't have their card.
Reporting in Carthage, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Blue Sage will have a grand recreational opening on February 6th. Some young students in Carthage today received new books to help them strengthen their reading skills. KOAM's Jean Haldela has more from the classroom.
Young Tiger Prep Academy students in Carthage are waiting to get their hands on some new books, thanks to a Carthage Family Literacy Council grant. These books are for the students to take home.
Literacy Council has actually offered books that they have been able to take home and keep at home, as well as this program, which will allow us to use the books back and forth from home to school on a daily basis, and so it just puts more books in their hands for those who may not have those resources at home.
Although children in this 4-year-old program are preparing for kindergarten and cannot read yet, these books help the students to learn letters.
Research says that the more you read to your kids, the better they will do in school, and so we just know as teachers that a lot of times kids don't have books at home. Maybe the only books they have are the ones that they check out from the library at school, or what they got maybe even when they were born.
The Literacy Council is hoping to double the amount of books donated.
She looks angry.
I know that they will love them. Kids just love books. It doesn't matter where they come from or how they get them, but a new book is always like a gift.
Books are always welcome at the Academy as students prepare academically for kindergarten.
These are students who are almost ready for kindergarten, and we're just giving them 1 extra year to build the things that they need, and having these books in their hands will really help for that.
In Carthage, Janna Haudala, KOAM News.
These two groups weren't the only students to receive books. The council also stopped at Fairview Elementary School's Tiger Prep class to distribute even more books. Federal lawmakers this week discussed a piece of legislation that comes around every 5 years, the Farm Bill. It helps set rules for and qualifications for nutrition assistance programs like food stamps, the accessibility of crop insurance, and development in rural areas, among other things. Senator from Kansas Roger Marshall says he doesn't anticipate any major changes.
A farm bill has been authorized approximately every 5 years, and it's one of the key ingredients, the backbone why Americans are able to enjoy safe, reliable, and I emphasize affordable food, that Americans on average spend about 7% of their income on groceries. Most developed nations is twice that. So we have a farm bill that's working. There's some little tweaks, but I don't anticipate anything major that we need to change with it.
Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us with the first look of the weather.
Thank you very much. It's a beautiful day across the area, and it's that way this evening as well. Radar is all clear, and those clear skies are going to allow temperatures to drop down through the 30s into the 20s by morning, 31 at 11, 30 at 3 a.m., and 29 by 6 o'clock in the morning. Looking down the lane, we're going to have a pretty nice Saturday. It'll be windy, though. A warmer weekend overall, especially on Sunday. Showers start to come back into our forecast on Monday, and a better chance of rain on Tuesday. And of course, I'll have all the details on your forecast, including a chance of snow as well, so you want to stay tuned for that.
Authorities in Tennessee found a missing 14-year-old girl from Joplin and arrested the man she was with. Investigators learned she may have been picked up by a man from Fort Myers, Florida. That man was identified as 31-year-old Christopher Brewy. Federal authorities last Saturday found Brewy and the girl at a motel in Knoxville, Tennessee. Brewy was arrested on charges of transporting a minor across state lines with intent to engage in sexual activity. The girl was reunited with her family members. A car chase leads to a manhunt in Newton County. Law enforcement from 3 agencies yesterday worked together to capture a wanted felon in Seneca, Missouri. Newton County Sheriff's deputies and the Missouri Highway Patrol chased the suspect into Seneca, where Seneca police were waiting with tire deflation devices near the Seneca Sports Complex on Bethel Road. Authorities say the suspect then ran into a wooded area. The 3 agencies arrested the suspect around 5 p.m. Police have not released the suspect's name. The Pentagon is tracking a suspected Chinese surveillance balloon over the U.S. Defense officials say while all options are on the table, they're not planning on taking it down for now. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera reports from Washington.
A Chinese balloon is floating over the U.S. China says it's a civilian aircraft used for weather research and that it had accidentally blown off course. But the U.S. says that's not true, calling this a spy balloon.
The balloon has violated U.S. airspace and international law, which is unacceptable.
A U.S. official confirms the balloon traveled from China to Alaska through northwest Canada before arriving over Montana on Wednesday. The balloon has the ability to maneuver and has changed course. It is believed to be at 60,000 feet above the range of where commercial and most U.S. warplanes can fly.
The balloon does not present a military or physical threat to people on the ground at this time.
Under military guidance, President Biden ruled against shooting the balloon down for now.
It is big enough that, again, in reviewing our approach, we do recognize that any potential debris field would be significant.
The U.S. government also has detected similar balloon activity before, as recently as in the prior administration, a White House official tells Fox. Still, the incident will likely further strain U.S. relations with China. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is postponing a meeting in Beijing over the weekend, which was partly aimed at easing the tensions.
We concluded that conditions were not conducive for a constructive visit at this time.
The balloon will likely be over the country for a few days, but U.S. officials say they've mitigated the balloon's ability to surveil sensitive sites and are learning a lot by monitoring the balloon. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes us time to honor another four-state hero. Charles Stout Jr. served in the U.S. Navy from 1950 to 1954. The Pittsburgh native was stationed in Korea and China. We salute 3rd Class Gunner's Mate Charles Stout Jr., a four-state hero. Coming up, a new weapon to combat the fentanyl ongoing crisis.
It's been called a game changer, and we do believe that it is.
Dr. Colin Hale and his team at the University of Houston have been working on a solution to
the fight against fentanyl could be taking a turn thanks to a new fentanyl vaccine. Researchers say the vaccine creates anti-fentanyl antibodies, preventing the user from getting high from the substance. Fox News senior correspondent Casey Segal has more on the story.
It's been called a game changer, and we do believe that it is.
Dr. Colin Hale and his team at the University of Houston have been working on a solution to the nation's fentanyl crisis and believe they've found an answer.
It's similar to the hepatitis B vaccine. The vaccine stimulates the body to make antibodies against fentanyl. Carlos, you want to take a picture of this?
Scientists say those antibodies can block the euphoric high a person feels from taking the drug.
The antibodies bind to fentanyl, prevent it from getting in the brain, and then it is exited from the body. The individual then can get back on the wagon to sobriety.
Fox News got a look inside the lab where they're developing a fentanyl vaccine. Work started nearly 6 years ago using proteins from 2 other inoculations already on the market. Testing was first done on rodents, and Dr. Hale says the results were promising with no adverse side effects. Human clinical trials now set to begin soon.
How do you measure the efficacy with humans?
We could give them fentanyl and then ask them questions, subjective questions. For example, how high are you? How good do you feel? How bad do you feel?
Dr. Wilson Compton, Deputy Director of the National Institute on Drug Abuse, which is consulting with Hale's team, says this could help addicts quit since it won't allow them to feel high.
Because it's a large molecule, it actually cannot cross between our circulation into the brain tissue itself. And so you're essentially sequestering fentanyl in the circulation.
Dr. Hale says best case scenario is getting FDA approval and rolling the vaccine out for human patients within the next 2 years.
The stakes are really high, and so if you are able to have a part of helping fix that, I would imagine there couldn't be anything more rewarding.
Yeah, we need this vaccine, and there's so many people that can be helped. And it needs to happen, and it will happen.
This treatment is intended for drug addicts looking to get clean. It's a series of 3 shots over a period of time, and the vaccine only works with fentanyl because it's a synthetic drug, so it's ineffective against all opioids like heroin. Casey Stiegel, Fox News.
And Sam is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later we'll have highlights from Missouri Southern's baseball season opener.
We are starting off February pretty nice around here with lots of sunshine and relatively normal temperatures. In fact, this afternoon we were just slightly below normal overall. Right now in Seneca, Missouri at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, pretty clear skies out there. You can see the planet Venus there, just to the left there. And Venus and Jupiter are going to get closer together as we go through the month, and it's going to be pretty spectacular. In the meantime, we're having pretty nice conditions here in Joplin too. We made it up to 44 this afternoon after starting out at 17. 47 are the normals and 26 the normal low, and of course we weren't anywhere close to those records. Radar is clear over our area and pretty much over the entire southern plains. We have to go all the way out to the west coast before we start interacting with the next storm system that's now moving into western Canada. Pieces of this energy is going to start moving towards us as we head towards the weekend, especially the early part of next week. That's when the rain chances are going to start to increase across our area. Right now in Joplin, we're sitting right at freezing. It feels like 25 though because we have a south wind at 8, but at least that's a warm direction for us on the winds. Dew point's 18, so it's very dry out there, and that's going to be a factor tomorrow with the fire danger, especially with the strong winds. Temperatures, as I said, are generally right around freezing right now, a little bit warmer down to the south in Anderson where they're 36. Same thing in Neosho, 33 degrees in Oswego, and a little bit below freezing up in Iola right now with 31 degrees. It feels like it's in the 20s out there because of those south winds. You can generally see pretty much in the mid-20s, 24 in Yates Center, Iola, 28 in Commerce, a little bit warmer down in Anderson where it currently feels like 35 degrees. Now, the winds are going to be the big story tomorrow. You can see winds by tomorrow afternoon are going to be gusting up to over 40 miles per hour, so please be careful with any outdoor flames tomorrow with those south winds. And then as we go through the evening, winds will start to die down as we move into Sunday, but the winds are going to come right back by Monday. Look at these winds, up close to 50 miles per hour on Monday morning. So it's going to be definitely breezy over the next couple of days, especially Saturday and Monday. Temperatures tonight are going to be in the mid-30s with clouds starting to move in from the south. And then tomorrow, highs in the upper 40s to lower 50s across the area. Then as we go into Sunday morning, we'll see readings generally in the mid-30s with light and variable winds, upper 20s up to the north and west. And then Sunday afternoon looks great. Temperatures in the upper 50s, even 60s down in southern Oklahoma, as well as in our part of the area. And then as we head into Monday morning, we'll see clouds increasing across the area ahead of the next storm with temperatures in the 40s. Here's a look at the wider picture. You can see the mild air starting to come back in over the weekend and the cold air starting to move away. But here comes the big storm system that will start to dig across the southern Rockies and then pull out into the plains as we go into Wednesday and Thursday with some colder air interact with that. And then if we look at the precipitation forecast, we're expecting generally amounts around 1/4 of an inch or more to the south, lesser amounts to the north and west. Over the next 7 days, pretty good weekend shaping up. Temperatures near 60 on Sunday, chance of rain on Monday and Tuesday, especially Tuesday. And then we have another system on Friday, which actually could bring back the white stuff, which I know a lot of people are probably not going to want to hear, but that's the way it's looking right now, Jalen.
Yeah, I mean, we'll worry about it when it gets there. But as for the next 2 days, I see a 52, a 58.
We'll take it.
Sounds good to me. All right, thank you, Sam. Coming up, the latest on the labor market.
The latest jobs numbers are out and they blew expectations out of the water. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington. Why this good news could mean some interest rate bad news from the Federal Reserve.
The newest labor market data has far surpassed all expectations, but some economists say there's some hidden bad news in the numbers even as the White House is celebrating. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard is in Washington with more.
We've created 12 million jobs. 12 million jobs since we took office.
The White House is doing a victory lap Friday as the latest jobs report shows 517,000 jobs were added last month, far more than were expected.
What is done mostly is provide dignity for those families. Dignity to be able to do that, because there's nothing worse than not being able to provide for your family as a mother or a father.
Unemployment dropped to 3.4%, a level not seen in decades.
This is one of the most amazing employment months I've ever seen.
Despite recent news of big tech company layoffs, the jobs report showed restaurants and bars added almost 100,000 workers, professional services 82,000, and government added more than 70,000. Wages rose 4.4% compared to a year ago, though slower than the month before. While the numbers are good, it's not great for those hoping it will persuade the Federal Reserve to stop hiking interest rates as they try to cool off the economy. Instead, analysts say this latest data will prompt the Fed to keep raising rates as they try to lower still high inflation.
They don't have to make up their mind right now on what this means, but I think it could be unsettling if you were expecting to see more of a slowdown and you're not getting one.
The next inflation report is due out in less than 2 weeks, and in March, the Fed will meet again to decide whether or not to hike interest rates. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Shares of Activision Blizzard falling today. This afternoon, the video game giant agreed to pay $35 million to settle SEC charges. It failed to have systems in place to properly handle employee complaints and violated whistleblower protection rules. The company settled the probe without admitting or denying the SEC's allegations. The Wall Street Journal has reported employees at Activision complained for years about alleged sexual assaults and mistreatment. Activision says it's glad the matter was resolved amicably and confident in its workplace disclosures. Next, we take a look at how one Ivy League school created a turtle-inspired robot. Researchers at Yale have developed an amphibious robot inspired by turtles with limbs that can change shape depending on the environment. The amphibious robotic turtle, or ART, takes inspiration from both water and land turtles and can morph its legs and flippers before it enters water. The innovative design allows the robot to navigate complex underwater environments with ease and flexibility, making it ideal for a range of scientific industrial applications. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Joplin schools are turning to virtual learning to make sure kids don't fall behind during snow days. Plus, Freeman Health System is taking part in an event to raise awareness about heart disease among women. As the weather seems to remain inconsistent, Joplin Schools is taking a step ahead to make sure students get the best of their education.
With the chilly wind and cold days, Joplin Schools is implementing a new way of teaching students on bad weather days through a system called Alternative Method of Instruction.
And it is something that we use here in the district when we have a day in which
kids won't go to school because of weather. It gives kids really the opportunity to continue their education and learning and lessons without actually being in school.
Young says students will be able to communicate live with teachers.
It's going to be delivered in a virtual method in most cases, especially in secondary. So we provide that through our learning management system, and we use Canvas. So it allows the teachers to still engage with students live, so they can have Zoom, Google Meet type of situations.
The Assistant Superintendent of Learning says AMI is different from online learning.
So our full-time virtual learners, they access all of their curriculum 100% of the time on a virtual platform. That's very different than AMI, where AMI is for our in-seat students who would be typically in traditional classrooms where we have inclement weather. Then they would transition to AMI activities if we have an AMI day. Our virtual learners, they just continue on.
Mwangi says getting kids engaged is a priority.
Missouri is unique with weather, so we never know how many days we may be out. So, for example, if we were in a situation where we were out all of this week, being able to utilize that to continue to keep kids engaged is important for us to make sure that we pick up where we leave off when they come back.
Reporting in Joplin, Shagmamdele, KOAM News.
Attendance is taking by seeing what assignments have been submitted by students. Workers at Freeman Health and elsewhere are wearing red today to raise awareness of heart disease in women. It's all a part of the American Heart Month and National Wear Red Day in association with the American Heart Association. Officials want people to know about the danger of cardiovascular disease, the leading cause of death for women in America. Freeman says only 56% of women recognize heart disease dangers, mostly because warning signs differ between men and women.
Women tend to still have classic mid-sternal, mid-chest pressure, squeezing, bear hug kind of symptoms, an ominous feeling that something's not right, shortness of breath, cold sweats, nausea.
Some of the symptoms specific to women are heart-related, back pains, and shortness of breath, even indigestion. February isn't all about just the heart health. It's also Children's Dental Health Month. To celebrate, officials from KCU, Joplin College of Dental Medicine, gave a presentation to local 4th grade and 5th graders. The assembly, called Show Me What Makes You Smile, was presented to students at Joplin's Irving Elementary. It was all about making sure the kids maintain good oral hygiene habits.
So important to start early. So what we know is that your oral health is connected to your overall health, meaning when your mouth is healthy, it helps the rest of your body be healthy. And so the earlier that we can start with children, we can actually develop those healthy behaviors, and it can not only prevent disease in the future that's in their mouth, but it can also help them stay healthy and grow up to be really healthy adults.
The assembly helps to kick off the Children's Dental Health Month. The Lamar, Missouri Career and Technical Center is celebrating 50 years of educating students. They hosted an open house today and invited all current students, alumni, and current and former employees to join in.
What really caught my eye is that they offer trades that you're going to carry with you your whole life. So yeah, you're going to carry math with you, but a lot of those classes over there you're really not going to remember. But you're going to remember how to build a house. You remember how to fix your house. You remember how to weld. You remember how to fix your car. So that really caught my eye.
Current and former employees were also recognized at tonight's Lamar High School varsity basketball game. Quarterback Patrick Mahomes might play for the Kansas City Chiefs, but a street 1,000 miles away now bears his name. From a suburb in Salt Lake City, Utah, reporter Alan Shope reports.
Arrowhead Stadium is where our MVP quarterback calls home, but now there's officially a county-approved Mahomes Street, a place you can call home.
I named the streets.
Cameron Jackson is a real estate developer.
And I was actually watching a game, and I thought, oh, why don't I name a street after Patrick Mahomes? That'd be fun.
It is, and as far as Cameron knows, it's the first ever county-approved street named after Mahomes. Only here's the thing, it's in South Jordan, Utah.
Raised eyebrows.
Yep, it's big Broncos and Raiders country.
I've done some some rock stars.
As for the city,
they start pulling the plat maps of because that neighborhood is brand new.
They love the idea. Cameron says unrelated, the city actually already has a Kelsey Street.
If I'd have put the two streets next to each other and we would have had an intersection of Mahomes to Kelsey, that would have been perfect.
Fans have tried it before. This is a sign from Emporia, and in a suburb of Denver, a Kansas City fan won a raffle getting to name the drive in front of the Denver area school. Of course, naming it Mahomes.
He wanted to heckle his neighbors who were Broncos fans.
They either take a lot of pride in that or they're like, oh man, I don't know who named that street.
As for his marketing plan,
who knows? Maybe we'll sell a dozen houses to Chiefs fans and they can all do a block party on Mahomes Lane.
Patrick Mahomes and the Eagles' quarterback Jalen Hurts will be the first African-American quarterbacks in the history of the Super Bowl to face off against each other. And Sam Lane is next with a complete look at the forecast. Plus,
more American weapons will soon be heading to Ukraine as the fighting escalates on the front lines. I'm Trey Yangst in Kyiv. I've got the details coming up.
Well, we had lots of sunshine today and temperatures were pretty close to normal with highs in the 40s. That was feeling pretty nice. Right now in Seneca, Missouri, the Indigo Sky Casino Resort, clear skies, allowing the temperatures to drop into the 30s across the area. And with those winds, it's making it feel like it's in the 20s. We did make it up to 44 today after starting out at 17. Of course, we weren't anywhere close to those records of 74 and minus 11. Radar is all clear, and it's not only clear here in the 4 states, but across most of the central part of the country. We have to go all the way up to the Pacific Northwest before we run into the next storm system. You can see it spiraling here as it goes into Vancouver. Also another storm behind that one. And these systems are going to be heading our direction as we head over the next few days, but it's going to take a while before it gets here. So in the meantime, we have some pretty nice weather on tap. 32 right now in Joplin, south wind at 8. Makes it feel like 25 out there with a dew point of 18 degrees. Temperatures across the region are pretty close to freezing right now. 31 in Fort Scott and Nevada, 32 in Carthage as well as Joplin, 35, one of the warmer spots down in Anderson. But when you factor in the wind, this is what it feels like. It feels like it's in the mid-20s across a large part of the area. Some 30s showing up, 31 in Anderson and 30 down in Grove is what it currently feels like. Those winds are going to really pick up tomorrow. You can see on the forecast for the wind gusts tomorrow, generally around 40 miles per hour out of the south, which is a warm direction for us. And then as we go through Sunday, temperatures are going to be pretty mild, as well as the winds are going to die down, so it'll be a pretty nice day. And then as we go into Monday, the winds kick back up out of the south, approaching 50 miles per hour by Monday morning. So it's going to be a pretty windy couple of days coming up. All right, let's take a look at the lows tonight. Generally right where they are, maybe a little bit less, with generally in the 30s across the area with south winds. Then tomorrow, windy across the area with highs in the 50s for the most part, maybe some upper 40s up to the north. And then as we go through Saturday night into Sunday, we'll see lows dropping down into the 30s once again with light and variable winds. And then Sunday afternoon looks like a great day with temperatures in the mid to upper 50s, even some 60s down in Oklahoma, and with those light winds. And then as we move into Sunday night into Monday, the clouds will start to increase. Winds will definitely be on the increase with lows generally in the 40s. Here's a look at the wider picture. You can see the mild air over us now. That's going to continue to expand as we go into the weekend. But notice here comes the storm system as we go into Tuesday, into Wednesday, pulling out into the plains, and that's when our rain chances are going to start to increase. How much rain? Well, not a whole lot with this first system, generally around 1/4 of an inch or more down to the south, lesser amounts up towards the north and west. So hopefully everyone will get a little something with that storm. All right, over the next 7 days, pretty nice weekend. 52 tomorrow with windy conditions, and then Sunday looks great with a high of 58. Then the rain starts to move in Monday night into Tuesday, especially Tuesday. And then I had to throw in a chance of snow there on Friday with the system coming in and then turning a little bit cooler behind that system, and then yet another rain system on Monday. So a little bit of a roller coaster, but not too bad.
Yeah, not at all. It's so amazing how our super hot summer is still impacting us to this day.
With the drought. That's
Normally,
exactly right.
normally I'm not looking forward to precip, but I know that we really need it. So
and the farmers definitely need the rain right now.
Absolutely. All right, thank you, Sam. Coming up in sports, a top 10 battle in Southeast Kansas with the Fort Scott girls hosting Parsons.
The Fort Scott Tigers are at home tonight for a doubleheader against the Parsons Vikings. On the girls' side, it's a big-time matchup in the SEK and a showdown between two teams ranked in the top 10 in the state in Class 4A. Fort Scott enters the night ranked 7th in the state. Parsons, a couple spots behind him at number 9. On the first quarter, Keegan Yarrick gets the steal on one end, takes off the other way, all the way to the basket for 2. Yarrick scores 11 tonight for Fort Scott. Now to the second, Parsons hangs around. Sidney Scheibe, one dribble, pulls up for the long 2. Scheibe leads the Vikings with 16. But Fort Scott closes it out tonight. Mackenzie Murphy on the block. Murphy gets 11 points for the Tigers. Then second half, Ellie Smith behind the ref over there in the corner. Promise she's there though. Smith leads Fort Scott with 16. Tigers beat Parsons tonight 56-40 to get to 13-2 this season. This weekend is opening weekend for Pitt State and Missouri Southern baseball. The Lions get to play at home to kick off the season, playing 4 games over the next 3 days in Joplin. Now that starts this afternoon, hosting St. Cloud State in their season opener. At the top of the first inning, Huskies runner on first, but check out Chayton Beck. Fires a perfect shot to second. Catches the runner stealing to end the inning. Cole Woods on the mound today for Southern. He was awesome. Strikeout here ends the third. Then top of the fourth, more from Woods. 6 shutout innings today, allows just 3 hits. Strikes out 9. Now Matt Miller, big day at the plate today for the Lions. Had 15 jacks last year. Gets his first of this season in the bottom of the fourth. That's a solo shot. 1-0 Southern with that. Then in the 6th, man on second for Miller. Yanks it into the right field corner. RBI double for Miller, scores Garrett Rice. Matt Miller 2 for 4 with a homer and a double. He drives in both runs for the Lions today, and that was enough. Southern wins their season opener 2-1. As for the Pittsburgh State Gorillas, they're in Oklahoma, opening their schedule in the UCO First Pitch Classic. Against Southwestern Oklahoma tonight, you don't really see this often, but the game was actually postponed due to a light failure. The game was scoreless in the top of the second. They'll resume the game at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Well, in case you have not heard, the Kansas City Chiefs are in the Super Bowl. They'll face the Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl 57 on February 12th in Arizona. So they have this weekend off, but still, like we do every Friday night during the season, right now it's time to hear from the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus, in this week's Minute with Mitch.
The Chiefs did it. They won the Lamar Hunt Trophy for the 3rd time in 4 seasons, and they're AFC champions again. Now the Chiefs get ready to end the season where they began the season, Glendale, Arizona, this time for Super Bowl 57. They will do so with a surprising team in many ways. Now the large glow of superstars Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Chris Jones overshadows the youth of this Chiefs team, the 5th youngest team in all the playoffs. Moreover, the 8 rookies the Chiefs played on defense and special teams last week tied an all-time record in the NFL for a conference championship game with the 1988 Chicago Bears and the 2013 New England Patriots. It's time to win a 3rd Lombardi Trophy, the 2nd in 4 seasons, and do it with a younger team than most realize on this Minute with Mitch. The Minute with Mitch is brought to you by Como Jewelry. Every day's game day, Como Jewelry, Pittsburgh, Joplin.
Now, the Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl will be Sunday, February 12th, right here on Fox 14. And right now, Chiefs are 1.5-point underdogs. Now, that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Another pledge of military aid from the Pentagon as Ukrainian officials hoping they'll be able to take the fight to the Russians sooner rather than later. Fox News correspondent Trey Yinks has more from Kyiv, Ukraine.
As fighting ramps up in eastern Ukraine, more help is on the way. The Pentagon announcing a new aid package for the Ukrainian military worth more than $2 billion, including, for the first time, longer-range bombs and precision munitions capable of hitting Russian targets far behind enemy lines.
In total, the U.S. has now committed $32 billion in security assistance to Ukraine since 2014 and $29.3 billion since Russia's unprovoked and illegal invasion.
The announcement comes as Ukrainian President Zelensky tells Fox News a new Russian offensive is already underway. Up to 300,000 soldiers now making a big push for a breakthrough on the Eastern Front, despite heavy losses on both sides.
Obviously, we're not able to deter him, but President Zelensky is absolutely right. We have got to stop Russia now, and he needs all the advanced weapons that we can provide him.
And Ukraine is also bracing for a possible invasion from Belarus, just to the north, where Russian soldiers have been holding drills in recent days with their Belarusian counterparts. A new northern offensive would force Ukraine to divide its forces and possibly put the capital, Kyiv, at risk. Civilians living on the front lines now watching and waiting to see if they'll be caught in the crossfire once again.
We have worries, emotions, and fears, but at the same time we have hope. The hope that our troops will protect us.
Earlier this week, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced a plan to set up joint military training centers in Belarus. In Kyiv, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
Up next, how one computer science major in Georgia is teaming up with Target. We'll be right back. A computer science student in Georgia is now partnering with Target, and it all started with the design to support Black History Month. Zach Summers reports.
It's surreal.
A sophomore at Spelman College, Cadence Patrick is already making a name for herself in the world of graphic design.
I still have to pinch myself.
The computer science major is one of 3 HBCU students across the country whose designs are featured in Target's Black History Month collection.
I want to do something positive, something motivating, something that is, very uplifting and forward thinking.
Cadence's winning creation depicts a young black man holding a glowing orb that reads, "Black futures are bright." Her 17-year-old brother was the inspiration.
My brother, he's one of the most kind and creative people I know. And so I just thought, I want people like him, I want young black kids to see that and think yeah, my future is bright. I can do whatever I want.
Cadence digitally drew the design using an app on her iPad. It's now on t-shirts, a baby's onesie, and journal. Products available in Target stores and online.
I always want to be thinking, what can we do next? How can we inspire another generation?
Cadence says she hopes the future allows her to blend her passion for art and technology so she can continue to make a positive impact in her community.
Black History Month isn't just about looking back on our history and reflecting on that. That is super important, but it's also about the history that we're creating every single day. So it's just an amazing feeling to be a part of that and to be able to sort of send the message that we are always creating history.
Zach Summers, Atlanta News First.
That's our time for tonight, and thank you all for joining us. But before you go, we'll leave you with a video of a house in Kansas City getting into the Chiefs' spirit just before the Super Bowl. Be safe, and we'll do this all again. See you then.